So I recently came across something called LUFS, LUFS, within audio engineering, and I've spent the last week just reading about it and doing my own tests. So LUFS stand for Loudness Unit Full Scale, and is actually a way to measure the perceived loudness of audio in order to give the perfect audio experience to users according to industry standards. So in this video, I will try to explain what I've learned so far and how you can apply it yourself in order to hopefully increase your own audio quality while streaming on Twitch. So just as always, there is a link in the description beneath this video, and if you click on that, you will come to my webpage here where I've done a written blog post about this called Set the Perfect Twitch Streaming Audio Volumes According to Industry Standards Using LUFS. So if you want to read about this and go into more detail what I'm going to talk about here, just click on that link and you'll come to this webpage. In this video, I will basically just do a walkthrough of this blog post. So we're going to read about this together and we're going to watch the videos together and talk about it here. So let's start with the first question, that is, what is really LUFS? So there are tons of articles and resources out there that explains what LUFS is in great detail, and in this video I'm just going to do a quick introduction of what it is. So as I said in the intro, LUFS stands for Loudness Unit Full Scale, and in some articles you might read it as LKFS, which stands for Loudness Key Weighted Full Scale, but it's basically the same thing, just different organizations and countries using different words to describe the same thing basically. So LUFS is basically an absolute standardized way to measure perceived loudness of an audio source. So regardless if it's a radio or a song or television or anything like that, if it's being broadcast or if it's in a game, it is a way to measure perceived loudness. So it was created in order to regulate broadcasters and content creators, because back in the day there was something called the loudness war. We can open up this here. And basically the loudness war entailed that content creators and broadcasters tried to increase the volume of content over time in order to steal the user's attention. So things became basically more and more loud over time. So different organizations such as the European Broadcasting Union and the Advanced Television System community started to create standards in order to control this loudness war. So LUFS was created because of that, and it was created with the intention to be very accurate and an accurate way to measure loudness. And as soon after LUFS was created, government started to apply this to regulations. So, for example, in USA, the CALM Act was passed on. And the difference between this LUFS system compared to, the decibel relative full scale, which you've probably heard about before, is that the decibel relative full scale is more how strong a signal is, while LUFS actually measures how loud it is, or the perceived loudness of it. So to put this in gaming terms, you can imagine that dBFS, the decibel relative full scale, is how hard you will hit an enemy, while the LUFS will actually calculate and show how much damage will actually you do by hitting this hard. And something important to note is that LUFS is pretty much used everywhere. So why not even by broadcasters on Twitch, I'm asking. So today, pretty much all industries are using this LUFS system in one or another way as soon as they deal with audio. For example, the movie industry uses it, the TV industry, the online music services such as Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and even the gaming industry is using the LUFS scale in order to balance the audio, to give a better audio experience for the end users. So some examples on how this could be beneficial. So imagine these three scenarios. You are a TV network and you want to play a commercial, but you don't want your commercials to be crazy loud compared to the rest of your TV content. Or for example, let's say you're Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Music, and you want your music to be consistent across all music. So one artist cannot just do a really crazy loud song and just put it up on the Spotify service. So these music services obviously wants to have a coherent, consistent level of loudness when they're going to play the songs. And the same thing goes with video games. They all want to have the same consistent of loudness. So while I did this research about LUFS, I actually found a list of different industries and how much they use. So LUFS is measured in LU, which is the loud unit. So everything is basically in this unit here. So for example, music services such as Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music, they tend to use around minus 14 LU, while podcasts are also around minus 14. Games and video games usually tend to be in minus 16 in loud units. TV tends to be in minus 27, and I've also found that Netflix, when they deliver the shows, they do it in minus 27. So as you notice here, LUFS is used pretty much everywhere where you want to make your different sound mixes to be more consistent. So if everyone does it, I'm asking myself, why am I not using it? And maybe all Twitch streamers should try to use this as well in order to increase the audio quality. So in the rest of this video, we're going to actually try to apply LUFS in our stream here and see how we can use it and if it becomes better. So the first thing we need to do is actually to install a LUFS loudness meter of your choice in OBS Studio. So I've done a video down here where we're going to install 2 of them. So while I did this research, I actually found 3 plugins you can use. The first one is Media Productions M Loudness Analyzer, and the second one is Lean Loudness Meter 2. So there might be other plugins out there which I have no idea they exist. So if you know of any, just write to me and I will try to add it to this list here. So we're going to look at this video here, and it will give us a sense on how to install both the M Loudness Analyzer but also the Unit Loudness Meter into OBS Studio as VST plugin. So I'm going to press play here and we're going to watch it together. Okay, so the first thing we actually need to do is to install our loudness meter into our OBS Studio as a plugin. So as I mentioned in the written blog post, I found 2 plugins which are free, and we are going to download and install them so we can see the installation process and see how they actually look like when they are installed. But before I do that, I just want to show you my OBS Studio here. So this is my OBS Studio, and if we go to my microphone filters up here and press a new VST plugin here and just select from the drop down here, you will see that I don't have a loudness meter installed already. So this is what we're going to do. So let me close down this here again. So on my left here, I have the Melda Production M Loudness Analyzer on, and to my right here, I have the Lean Loudness Meter 2. So we're going to install both here. So I'm going to start with the Melda Production here. And then Windows, yes. So this is going to save a file here. And we can start to download this file here to the Lean version as well. So I'm clicking Windows here. And this is a zip archive. I'm just going to download here as well. So these are now downloading. Okay, so both of them have been downloaded now. So let me just minimize these windows here. So let's start with the Melda Production. And this is pretty straightforward to install these plugins. So yes, next here, we're going to agree to the license. And here we're only interested in the VST plugins here. Next. And this installer here contains a lot of plugins and effects. So what we're going to do here is to select none. Yes, and then we're going to find our loudness analyzer and select that one. And here we can see on the right that we've only selected one plugin, and then we're going to continue. All the folders looks okay. Press install. So the M Loudness Analyzer should be installed now. So let's do the same thing with the Lean. So that's a zip archive, so I'm just going to extract it here onto my desktop. And inside this contains an installer. Got to install that. And here we only need the VST plugin here as well. So next, and I'm just going to install the 64-bit version of the VS2 plugin. Looks okay, and I'm going to accept and continue and install. So now we have both of these installed. So let us now go and check our OBS Studio here again. So open up, go to the microphone, go to filters, go to our VST plugin, and then we will see that both has been installed here. So let's first let's rename this to media, and let's rename this one to Yulin. So on the Yulin one, let's select the Yulin, yes, and open up. So that's the Yulin up, and then on the media, let's select the Loudness Analyzer and open that one up. So now we have installed both of these loudness meters as a plugin to our OBS Studio. In the next video, we're actually going to go through these tools together. So this video here basically just goes through how to download, install, and then show it in OBS Studio. So as you saw in the previous video, we installed both of these plugins here, the Loudness Analyzer and the Yulin Loudness Meter 2. So if you open these up here, you will actually see how it actually works. So regardless what kind of loudness meter you have installed, they pretty much share the same fundamental metrics and visualizations. So this point of this topic in the blog post basically just goes through the most important metrics you will see on a meter. So this is a screenshot of the Loudness Analyzer meter. Here you will see that it has something called peak, and this peak here is measured in decibels, and this is basically the same peak you will see in OBS Studio when you look at the audio mixer. The dots that's in the furthest right here, basically. Then you have the true peak, and this is basically a more accurate version of peak because it takes into consideration of common post-processing algorithm. Then you have momentary here, and this is basically the loud unit that is occurring right now. So you see here that this is in decibel, and this is in LU. So this is loud units now, and this is the snapshot of how it is right now, and this has a window of 400 milliseconds, while the short term, the row below, has a window of 3 seconds. So the larger window you have, the more stable loudness representation you will have. And the last row here that's important, which we're going to use a lot in this video, is the integrated version. And the integrated version is basically the LU loudness since you did a reset. So in this tool here, you can press this button here called reset now, and that will reset all the audio. So the integrated is from the beginning of the audio until now. So it's not a window, it's like the overall loudness of the whole audio content. But if you want to read more about how these meters work, there is actually a very good official documentation for the Loudness Analyzer. So we can click on this and I'm going to show you. So this is the PDF manual that goes through this tool here in depth, and this is the official one as well. So if you're interested in knowing all the metrics, all the buttons and all the values, you just read through this, and I think that will give a much better explanation than I would ever give. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is setting up your microphone loudness to -16 LU. So this is probably the most interesting topic in the whole video, because we're actually going to use the plugins we just installed and try to change our loudness to -16. So you might be wondering, why is it -16? Well, if you remember in the beginning of the video, I actually said that podcast uses -16 loud units. So both music services and podcast uses -16. So apparently that's the sweet spot when it comes to podcasting and voices being broadcasted. So in this section here, I've done an example that I'm going to install a new Blue Yeti Nano microphone. So I'm plugging in that microphone into my computer through our USB port, and then we're going to find it in our Windows settings, our sound control panel. So if you find your microphone there, scroll down to list, you'll probably see your own microphone, and if you double click there, you will open up the microphone properties, and then if you go to the levels tab here, you will actually see a slider. So the question here is, as soon as you've installed a new USB microphone to your computer, how much gain should you have? Because if you have too little gain, no one will hear you on stream, but if you have too much, it will start to clip, and the audio will be distorted, and it will give a terrible audio experience to the end user. So as I mentioned before, podcasts have around -16. So let's aim for that when we're going to set up how much gain we're going to use here. So I have another video down here where I actually go through this step by step. So let's watch this together. Okay, so now we're going to configure our newly installed microphone to a loudness to -16 LU, and LU stands for Loudness Unit. So how do we actually do that using OBS Studio? So if you remembered in the last video, we actually installed two plugins. I've renamed these to LUFS Ulean. So let's open up the Ulean version. And then we're going to open up the Melda production version here as well. So both of these are loudness plugins which you can use. So I'm going to close this here again. And if you look at these two, you will see that the interface here is basically the same. They show the same metrics basically. This isn't active yet, so we have to do that. So on the Ulean, you actually need to go down here and take continuous. So this is now in real time as well. So both of these plugins, you will see that they have peaks. True peak here, true peak here, and then you have short term, and then you have short term, and you have the integrated, and you have the integrated. So the true peak here is basically the same decibel as you see in the desktop audio, the audio mixer, this here. So this is the same peak as you see here. The integrated is how loud your entire audio has been since the last time you did a reset. So if I do a reset here now, and if I do a reset up here in the loudness analyzer, you'll see that it is how loud we've been since we actually started putting in audio. And the short term here is the current loudness within a 3-second window. And the same thing here on the M loudness analyzer, the short term here. So we have configured the Ulean loudness meter to be continuous, and we need to do some changes for the M loudness analyzer version as well to make them show the same numbers. So the first thing we need to do here is to change this to EBU27. We need to change the target to 0, and we're not going to have a limit anymore, so put that on 0. So if I do a reset here, and see if I can make this smaller here as well. Let's put this up here, make this down here. So if I do a reset here, and if I do a reset here, we should see the same numbers here. So the integrated here is on -35 LU, and here the integrated is on -35, so it's the same. Short term is around 35 right now. Short term here is around 35 right now. And the true peak is -18.8, and the true peak here is -18.8. So these two are now showing the same numbers when it comes to the loudness and the peak. So when you install a new microphone, the first question is maybe how much gain should you have on the microphone in the Windows settings? So if you bring up the microphone settings here on the recordings, double click to bring up the properties, there is a level here, which is the microphone gain. So if I just increase here, you will see that my volume here becomes really loud, but I'm really talking in the same voice in real life. And if I move it down here, it becomes really soft here. So the question is, how much gain should I have here? So industry standard says that podcasting usually has a minus 16 LU when they are broadcasting. So we could use that metric to figure out how much gain we should have. So let me put this let me put this here then, okay? And then now we're going to use our meters here to figure out where we are on the minus 16 LU. So if you see me continuously talk here now, we can look at the, let's see here, the integrated version here to see how loud we usually are on average. So I do a reset here now. So I'll put this on 25. I'll start this on 25 right now. So if I just do a reset here and then do a reset here and continue to talk here, we will see how much my integrated loudness is right now when I have the when I have it on 25. And it seems like 25 gain gives around minus 35 in loudness. I can double check this again by just doing a reset here, and I'm going to continue with my normal speaking voice here, and it will land around 36 and 35 here. So this is a bit too low. So let's bump this up to 85 and do the same test here again. I'm going to do a reset and then a reset here as well. And we will see here that I'm around 6. Okay, so we're getting a bit closer now. So we're getting pretty close here with 85. As you can see, we are around minus 16. So let me do a reset here again. Let me do a reset, and I'm just going to talk just as normal as you are in when you're streaming, and you will see that I'm around 16 LUFS here and 16 here as well. So this is probably a good level to have when it comes to the microphone gain in Windows here, because when I do a reset here, we see that I land around minus 17, which is okay, and minus 17 here. So I think it's totally okay here. So this gain here is probably good to have when you're going to broadcast on Twitch. Okay, so this video here basically describes, how to set your microphone gain according to minus 16 LU, which is used for most podcasting services on the internet. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, and that is you should aim for minus 10 LU change compared to your microphone for all other audio sources. So for example, when you're playing music or games on stream. We've decided that, we've configured that our microphone is on minus 16 LU, right? So you want your game volume and you want your music volume to be lower than your own loudness, right? Because you don't want that to be more dominating than your voice. So the bottom line here is basically if you go into a game here and just record the loudness of it, then play back and hear your own voice over the game, you will actually come to your own number here. So this minus 10 is a number I have just thought of. It's not an industry specific number. It's just a number I thought was the most suited for me for my own streaming. So the whole idea here is that if my microphone is on minus 16, any other external audio should be minus 10 points beneath that, and that will be around minus 26 in total in loudness units. So if I do this, and so I have another video here where I basically do this for music. So I'm going to adjust my Spotify music to minus around 26, so it's follows these minus 10 different rule I just came up with here. So let's watch this together. Okay, so now that we've adjusted that our microphone will be around -16 LU when I talk with normal voice, I'm going to do something more fun here now. So I'm going to try to adjust my music when I play music in my stream, so that is around -26 or something like that in LU compared to mine. So I have personally decided that I want all other audio sources to be -10 LU compared to my microphone. So that meaning that any other external audio won't actually overpower my own voice. So what I'm going to do here is basically I'm going to turn off this M loudness analyzer, which is still on my microphone here. But I'm going to keep the U lean one here. And then I'm going to go over to my OBS here, and I'm going to add a loudness filter on the desktop audio as well, so we can track that. So I'm just going to add here, and I'm going to remove these I have here. And I'm going to add a new plugin, and I'm going to use the U lean here as well. So now we have actually two meters running here. So the one here to the left is my microphone. So this is me talking. And this one is my desktop audio. So let's say I'm going to play some music. So I have a Spotify up here. And as you can see here, I'm running here on 100% volume. So let us just play this and see how loud this is when I have the Spotify on 100% volume. So as you can see here, when we're playing on Spotify 100% volume here, the average integrated LU is around 16. So it's basically on the same as my microphone right now. So the music here is basically the same volume as my voice. So what I want to do here instead is to lower down the volume here so it becomes around 26 or something. So I'm just going to lower down the volume here. And as you can see here, we're on 29, so a bit too low. So we're around 26 now. So I think this is a good, perfect volume for music compared to my own microphone. So you can do this strategy on any other desktop audio, to be honest. You just need to add our new VST filter in OBS and start the application here, and then you can record how loud any game or music is here. So I think this is a good level for the Spotify. So in the next video I'm going to try to do the same pattern using a game instead. So as I said in this video, I only configure music. So in the next video here, I'm actually going to configure a game so it follows the same pattern here. My microphone should be on -16, while the game audio loudness should be around -26. So let's jump into this video here as well. So let's say that I want to stream a game here. So I'm taking Left 4 Dead as an example here now. So let's say I want to stream Left 4 Dead. So I still have my 2 meters up here. This one is my microphone and this is my desktop sound here. And as you can see, I actually have Left 4 Dead running here in a window in the background. And before I enter here, I just want to see that the game volume is on 100% here and the music volume is 100%. So what I want to do here is to start to measure how loud the default Left 4 Dead is when it's on 100% volume, and then we're going to look how it is. So I'm going to reset here. So desktop sound is reset, and then I'm going to enter the game here and see how much loud the game is by default. So as you can see here, the volume here, the integrated volume is around 16. So this should also be around my own voice, right? Because my voice is around 16 as well, which is a bit too loud. So what I want to do here is to lower the volume. Okay, so I think it was a bit too loud. So what we're aiming here for is around minus 26, if the same as we did in the music. So what I'm going to do here is to, let's see, I'm going to reset here. Then I'm going to options, do audio. I'm going to cut it in half, reset here again. And we can see here that we are around 28. So we can probably increase this a bit. Reset here again. And we are around 26 here now in integrated. So this game here is the same loudness as the music we did in the previous video. So if I just walk around here, this should sound way better compared to my voice, I think. But there is one more problem here, which I'm going to demonstrate, and that is when I shoot. You see that the volume explodes, right? It went up to, let's see here, if you look at the short term LU, this is ridiculously loud. So this game itself is not really normalized because it's very quiet right now, but when the action actually starts, then it goes totally crazy. So I think this is a good level for the normal game here, but we probably need to fix the problem that it goes totally bananas with the volume when I start to shoot. But we're going to do that in the next video. So as I said, I had to adjust the shooting volume in Left 4 Dead, and this was actually the first time I needed to add a compressor to a game. So in order to fix the loud spikes between just walking around to shooting, you need to add a compressor, right? So in this last and final video, we actually will do that. So let's watch that. So in our previous video here, we adjusted the loudness volume of the Left 4 Dead game here, so it would be around minus 26 LU, while our microphone is still on minus 16. So that's around 10 levels difference. But as I ended the last video, I had a problem when I was shooting. So let me go in here again. And that is when I start to shoot here, the volume goes insanely loud here. So I'm not sure if you noticed that. So look at the short-term LU when I shoot here. Right now it's around minus 24, right? But when I shoot, it goes down to minus 5. So if I just talk here while shooting, you will probably not hear the sound, right? So loud. You probably couldn't hear me at all when I was shooting that. So how do we actually fix loud spikes of audio when it goes from quiet to insanely loud? Well, you add a compressor. So what we need to do here is to add a compressor on the desktop audio here. So just like every other situation, we're going to have a new filter. So I'm just going to, so I pressed on the gearbox here on the desktop audio and then added a new filter, and then I'm going to add a new compressor. And we're just going to use the built-in compressor, which is shipped with OBS Studio. So the order here is important because it goes in sequence here. So the first item here executes then the second one. So we need to put this first here because we want to see how the compressor actually behaves afterwards. I don't usually have a ratio of 10 because that's kind of aggressive. I usually have like 4. But I don't know about the decibel here. So the threshold here. So let's leave it at minus 18 and just jump in and do a test. So I need the meter back here again. I'm going to reset and then I'm going to enter the game here again. And then I'm going to start shooting and then I'm going to see how the shorter term LU is. So I don't know if you noticed that, but when I shoot here, it goes to around 60. And so the compressor kicks in, and but the volume is the same loudness as my voice, around -16. So I want it to be around, I don't know, -20 at least, because I want the shooting to be slightly louder than the normal game sound, but it's still below my voice. So I need to adjust the threshold here. So I need to increase or decrease, depending how you see it, the threshold here. So it was on 18 before, so I'm going to put this on 25 and see what happens. So it's on 25 now. Going into Left 4 Dead, I need my meter here again. And then I'm going to start to shoot here. And as you can see, the short-term LU is around -20. So it's slightly higher than normal game sound when I'm walking around here. But it is still below my own voice. So if I just walk around here, this should sound really good. And when I start to shoot here, you should hear my voice perfectly okay, I think. Let's do that again. The thing is that it's compressed for you, but for me, it's still really loud. But you should probably hear, I can't hear myself when I talk right now. But you can probably hear it now, and that's the most important, to give the end user a better audio experience, right? So this is how you deal with huge spikes of audio. You add a compressor to a game. So that was about how to add a compressor to a game audio in order to reduce loud spikes of volume. So this whole video was about LUFS, the Loudness Unit Full Scale, and how to set the perfect Twitch streaming audio volumes according to industry standards. So I tried to explain what it was and how you can use it yourself by installing these VST plugins and monitor your own sound, and then change your microphone and game audio accordingly, so you will have a consistent level of loudness in your own streams. So if you thought that this video was useful, feel free to give a thumbs up, and I wish you a continued great evening.